Hi, my name is Emma and let's talk spooky stuff. Welcome back to my channel. I'm in the middle of 12 Days of Christmas, but I thought it would be fun to sprinkle some other videos in here as well. So if you are watching my 12 Days of Christmas series, thank you so much, and I hope you enjoyed this video as well. If you haven't seen one of these videos before, I'll leave a playlist link in the description, so check that out. But pretty much what happens is over on my Instagram, which is the easiest way for me to get answers from you, I ask what you want me to recommend. It can be topics, it can be films like other films, it can be genres, all that kind of stuff. And then I pick a bunch of them, which thank you, I get so many. So thank you so much for that, to answer in a video. And we're gonna jump straight into it. The first question I had was from Andrew, who asked about cursed objects. I love that you bring this up because I feel like this is a subgenre of horror that people don't really talk about that often. And I have a varied array of suggestions for you. Firstly, let's talk about The Red Shoes. This is a South Korean horror mystery about a woman who finds a pair of heels abandoned at a train station. The woman takes the shoes home and starts to develop an unhealthy obsession, which in turn brings tragic consequences. But where did the shoes come from? I'm sure you've heard of Christine. This is a supernatural horror directed by John Carpenter, and it's based on the book by Stephen King. The movie follows a man whose life changes after he buys a classic car named Christine that seems to have a mind of its own. The backstory of Christine's evil origin is very different from the book to the movie, but fun fact, Nicolas Cage and John Cusack both auditioned for being in this film. And even stranger, the film actually started production before the book was published. That's how popular Stephen King was at the time. Everyone just wants a piece of the king. I've recommended foreign horror and a classic horror, but now we're going full art house and surreal, and this is In Fabric. This offbeat horror comedy fantasy follows the life of a red dress during the winter sales period of a department store. It's all about the lives it touches and destroys. So sinister. I have to tell you, this film is not for everyone, but it is bizarrely beautiful and captivating if you like something a little bit different. Next, Vanessa asked for a one location movie so that she has something to relate to during lockdown. I got you covered. The Night Eats the World is a lock-in French zombie film. When it was released, I did do a review, but at the time, so many people commented that they couldn't relate to the lead's suffering and how he was just stuck inside his apartment the whole time looking for answers. But since then, I feel like this might have changed, and I've even seen a few comments on the video commending it for its relatability. If you did put off this film, then I do recommend trying it out in the new climate. It's about a man that wakes up after a party to find that Paris has been taken over by zombies. But if you're down for more of an anxiety-induced ride, you can't get more shut in than Buried. The film stars Ryan Reynolds as a US truck driver working in Iraq who gets buried alive in a coffin. This movie is no joke. He only has a phone and a lighter to escape before his air supply runs out. You wouldn't think it, but this film is tense from start to end, even though it's all contained within a coffin. That film is more of a thriller, but I really do recommend it. But back to full-blown horror, 13 Cloverfield Lane. This is a great option for horror fans, and although some of the scenes take place before the same location, I think it still qualifies. The film is about a woman who is held captive in a shelter by two men who claim the world is ending. Jay asks for a haunted house film based on actual events, and I'm sure everyone's mind goes to the same place as mine, the Amityville Horror. Based on a true story, the film is about a family who moves into a house with a bloody past. Soon, creepy events take place, and it seems to have a hold on the father. But if you're curious about the Amityville franchise and you want to know all about it, I highly recommend my friend Mike from Rotted Reviews. He did this amazing long video about every single film. Definitely check it out. I'll leave it linked down below. It's a really good video. But I do think I have something a little bit more horrifying than Amityville, and brace yourself. This is The Entity from 1982, and it's based on a true story about a woman who claims that she is being tormented in her home by an invisible demon. And this isn't just psychological torment, it gets sexual, and for that I find it deeply horrific. Interesting fact is that Martin Scorsese includes this in his top 11 scariest films of all time. So you've been warned. And yes, I don't understand why he did top 11 instead of top 10, but anyway, I digress. Next, Emma Rose asks for wintertime horror that is not Christmassy, and I totally have you covered. You could go really obvious for things like The Thing, The Shining, and of course, Misery, but I thought we'd talk about something a little bit different. Devil's Pass is a 2013 Russian horror mystery thriller, and the film follows a group of American students who go on a trek to investigate the mystery of 9 Russian skiers who died on the mountains in 1959. The mystery is based on a true story, which has many theories, but this film only explores one, but it's in an extremely epic way. Of course, due to the setting, it's a freezing scene. Next is a Swedish horror drama fantasy that never lets you go. Let the Right One In is about a bullied boy who makes friends with a strange girl that has a dark secret. This film will make you feel particularly cold with the girl wandering out into the snow with just a t-shirt on. I actually love watching these cold films during summer, and it's summer here now in Australia, and I tell you what, it is hot. It's 40 degrees today, which is 104 Fahrenheit. I'm on fire. The last one I want to mention is the often overlooked The Visit. I thought I'd give you one that's a little bit lighter than the other picks. Set during the winter, the film is about 2 siblings who go to stay with their grandparents who have strict rules. But the brother and sister defy the rules and witness bizarre and terrifying behavior. Of course, this is an M. Night film, so there's more to this simple storyline than first meets the eye. Next, Lauren asked for something that's similar to The Invitation because I love that film. I also love that film, and unfortunately, I think it's so unique, which I guess is probably what we love about it. There's not much else that's exactly like it, but I've got 2 recommendations of horror dinner parties that I think will scratch that itch. First is The Perfect Host, and this is a comedy crime thriller starring David Hyde Pierce as Warwick. Warwick is a man who allows a stranger to join his dinner party, but has sinister intentions. I love the tagline for this film: dinner parties are a dying art. But perhaps my favorite dinner party film is Coherence. And I know I've mentioned this one before, I'm sorry, it's just so good. This is an amazing drama horror mystery about a group of friends at a dinner party who begin to experience surreal effects of the comet passing overhead. This one truly is a mind f***, and if it's still sitting on your to watch list, take my advice and bump it up now. There's also a film out called Hosts. I have not seen it, but I've heard it has a crazy dinner party scene. If you have seen it, let me know if it's worth it. Alexandra asked for a film that is like Black Swan. Unfortunately, there's no other film just like Black Swan because it's just so perfect and unique. And I do recommend, if you haven't watched all of Aronofsky's films, definitely check them out because they may not be the exact same story, but they definitely have the same attention to detail. He is a master, but I do have a film that's kind of like that, and I just watched it earlier this year, and it's Nocturne. This is about 2 sisters, Juliet and Vivian, who attend a prestigious music school. But Juliet is stuck in Vivian's shadow, desperate to compete, until she discovers a strange ritual that could put her back on top. But her endeavor for perfection tears her world apart. I got so many questions about my favorite Christmas horror movies, and I really don't think I have anything to add that you guys don't know, but I'm gonna give you my top 5, and this is in order as well. I don't normally do that, but I'm putting them in order. My number 1 is A Nightmare Before Christmas. Yes, I consider this a horror. It's a soft horror, fantasy, adventure, musical. In fact, it's everything. I'm sure this one doesn't need an explanation, but the animation follows the ghouls of Halloween Town who decide to try out a different holiday, Christmas, but their darkness ruins it in the process. Second, Rare Exports is a bizarre Finnish fantasy horror, and if I told you the full storyline, you just wouldn't believe me. You have to see it. But let's just say it's about a father and son who capture Santa just to find out everything they thought about him was a lie. The film is funny, strange, and above all, unique. Third on my list is Krampus, and this is another staple for me, starring an insane cast, including Toni Collette and Adam Scott. The film is about a dysfunctional yet realistic family that gather together for the Christmas holiday, only to be attacked by Krampus and all of his helpers. The film is a fun yet thrilling adventure that I try to rewatch every year. Fourth is Black Christmas, and this is one of my favorite classic slashers. Black Christmas is about a sorority house that receives obscene phone calls that threaten the lives of those in the home. And things go from bad to worse when a local girl is murdered. And last, I'm going to include P2. This one isn't very festive, but it takes place on Christmas Eve. It follows Angela, who is locked in her company car park and is stalked by a psychotic individual. With nowhere to go, she must outsmart her stalker to survive. The next question I got is for a film that was dealing with the fear of death. Did you know that this is called Thanatophobia? I just discovered that. The obvious option for me is Final Destination. This franchise follows a particular formula. Each film follows a lead character who has a premonition about their own horrific death, and in turn they're able to prevent their own demise and save people along the way. But now that they've missed their meeting with the Reaper, death attempts to follow them, killing them off in the same pattern that they were meant to die in. And because of this, the film is about the fear of constant illogical accidents resulting in death, thus the fear of death. Flatliners is also another film that follows this general death-defying idea. The film is about a group of medical students that are exploring near-death experiences, and each bring back something from the dead that will haunt them. This will be the last recommendation for today, and the reason I've put this at the end is because it kind of could contain a spoiler, and this is good for her movies like The Invisible Man and Ready or Not. I feel like knowing that it's good for her could infer the ending, so yeah, spoilers are incoming right now. But I do hope these films get you in the mood. Not the most lighthearted film, but Carrie is about a woman who was bullied in school and abused by her mother. But she is more powerful than she knows, and she will have her revenge. Obviously, Midsommar is a roller coaster of emotion, but at the heart of it, the director wanted to tell a breakup story. The film is about a lot of things, but at its core, it's about a woman who is in a toxic relationship but discovers a Swedish cult to take away the pain. And then recently, a very satisfying good for her moment came from an unexpected place. The film follows, well, an unhinged man who suffers from road rage and stalks a mother and her son, but she's not giving up without a fight. And if none of these tickle your fancy, I highly recommend checking out The Handmaid's Tale. It is very dark, very depressing, and has some very low moments, but because of that, some of the retaliation is so epic and so good for her. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. I make at least 2 videos every single week and a little bit more during the month of December. I'll talk to you all very soon. Stay spooky. Bye.